Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to listen to my story today. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Logan Moffit. I am a full-time content creator on social media, focusing on sharing my love for food and creating simple and easy dishes from all over the world. I have a question for all of you. Have you ever seen me make one of the many kinds of kimchi that I love to make? Yes, okay. Thank you so much. I like cooking a different array of Korean foods at home and love to recreate foods that I have on my trip to Korea. I love eating samgyeopsal at home, along with bibimbap, japchae, yukke, and I have many other kinds of foods at home. I've been cooking for my family for as long as I can remember from my childhood. Because I have been cooking for my family most of my life, often especially making Korean food, such as samgyeopsal, because it is a fun, interactive food that you can share together as a family. Side note, serving samgyeopsal with some kimchi fried juices from the meat along with some ice-cold naengmyeon makes for the perfect combination. The refreshing flavor of the bright and sour kimchi with the fatty meat plus the cold chewy noodles is a taste you will never forget. I love to travel and experience new experiences in Korea and have all the Korean foods possible. So far, I've traveled to Jeju, Busan, and even the remote island Imjedo. I hope to explore every region of Korea in the future and learn as much as I can from experiences. Growing up, I was a competitive swimmer, training 19 hours a week, and would come home from practice often, ravenous, tired, and I'm a picky eater, so that's where I learned to cook because I decided to take it upon myself to make my own food and make the best food. When I was around the age of 10 years old, I started cooking dinner for my family every night, making an array of dishes and developing my skills myself. I learned how to use a knife, learned how to cook, what flavors go with what, and how to cook food in general. For the next few years, I made time every Sunday to create my own grocery list, plan meals, and go to the grocery store to make sure that I had the ingredients for the week to cook for my family. For the next few years, I surfed the internet daily, learning more and more from various cooking apps on my iPad, but especially watching YouTube. I fell in love with the concept of learning to watch a video rather than read a recipe. Being a visual learner, watching a YouTube video recipe was like a dream. I would spend my free time keeping up with my favorite YouTube cooking accounts. Throughout the years, teaching myself to cook and starting to develop my own style and very specific tastes that I liked. I always compare cooking to learning a language, because once you learn the basics of a language, you can expand your capabilities. I think cooking is the same thing, because once you understand a cuisine's flavor, you can practically learn the cuisine's language. This leads me to when I first began to learn my love for Asian and Southeast Asian cooking. Many of my favorite YouTubers focused on Vietnamese and Korean cooking. I would spend hours watching them and kept up with every YouTube video, cooking the recipe as soon as possible after watching it. Some of the first things I cooked as a child were pho from scratch, bulgogi at home, and the most shocking of all, kimchi. I learned how to make kimchi from a very famous cooking YouTuber called Kimchi. I have watched her through my entire childhood and have learned the basics of every Korean meal from her. It is also her who I learned how to make kimchi from. When I was just 14 years old, I took it upon me to make kimchi for the first time. I was not really as advanced in Korean cooking as I am now, or cooking in general, so taking on this task was kind of a big deal. I bet you are all wondering how it went. It actually went very badly, and I never even tried my first kimchi, and I just left it in the freezer. I remember the red Ziploc Christmas container it sat in all too well. It sat in the fridge we kept in the garage, never to be consumed. Looking back, I know exactly what I did wrong, and it's actually a bit of a horror story. I ended up using American chili powder, which is much different from Korean chili powder. It contains an assortment of different spices, which will completely alter the flavor of kimchi, and it won't work. The horror story does not end there. My mom's blender was completely destroyed in the making of this. I blended the kimchi sauce in the family blender, and it soaked into the garlic. The garlic soaked into the components of all the plastic of the blender and never left, actually leaving a hint of kimchi in every smoothie that everyone tried to make. After this terrible first time, I actually never made kimchi again for a really long time. And fast forward to present day, high school got real, swimming consumed most of my time, and I even got a part-time job. I would still cook on weekends and experiment with new foods every so often, but for several years in high school, I was not cooking nearly as much as I used to. Not until the outbreak of the coronavirus. Fast forward a couple years, I have graduated high school. I'm in a gap year, taking a break from school, still swimming, still working, but everything gets canceled with the outbreak of COVID-19. I am left at home, no responsibilities, no job, no school, and no sports. I spent a lot of this time getting back into the kitchen, reconnecting with my old hobbies, finally getting some rest, and enjoying a new way of life. As most of you can probably relate, social media is a huge part of my life, and I think like most of us, during lockdown, it became an even bigger part of our lives, being a main source of entertainment and connecting us all during such a strange time. For the first year and a half of lockdown, I was a social media bystander, honestly. I watched many cooking TikTokers who inspired me, but always knew I could do it. But when would I start? I would often scroll on TikTok and YouTube, watching my favorite cooking creators, admiring the content and wishing to do what they do, but lacking one thing, the courage to start. I spent about a year and a half as this social media bystander, simply by just enjoying content, but secretly wishing I was a part of what was going on. Something that I learned from this experience, and many of the things that have happened since, is that starting is simply the hardest part of most tasks. Starting is how things actually are, subjecting oneself to possible failure, embarrassment, and ridicule. The internet is vast, and putting yourself out there can be daunting, and this leads me to the time that I finally actually started. On May 20th, 2021, I posted my first TikTok about Korean food. The premise of the video was about food combination that you have been addicted to lately, and I posted a video eating kimchi, cucumber, and rice. This video got the most traction I've ever seen on TikTok, and I actually noticed many comments aligning with my love for kimchi. At the time, my favorite kimchi was store-bought kimchi. I replied to every comment asking, which kimchi brand should I get? Saying to buy Rooster brand. I continued posting the food I loved, which was in particular Korean food, and many comments would ask if I eat anything else. The answer is yes, but at my house, I cook Korean food the most for the simple reason is I think it's the most delicious. I got so many requests to make kimchi myself. I was reflecting on the first time I made kimchi, how badly it went. Could I do it properly now? Now that I'm older, it had been almost 8 years since I had made it to this point, and I decided to do it, and I posted a TikTok video about how I make kimchi, and a lot of people loved it. I saw many people stitching the video, reacting to me making kimchi, and many foreigners actually tagging me in their videos of them making kimchi. Having a positive impact online like this made me really happy. To see so many people getting in the kitchen, trying to cook the things that I like the most, as a huge supporter of Korean food and Korean culture, it also made me very happy to see people finally appreciating Korean foods on social media just as I was. This was just the start. Fast forward to now, a few years later, Korean food has taken over social media and is constantly proving itself as a superpower of a cultural food. I now am sharing all the new Korean foods that I have been making recently, such as yuke and even homemade makgeolli. Reflecting on the past, in the back of my head, I had always wanted to be a YouTuber. I had always wanted to be able to create something and share it with the world. The essence of a content creator, I never realized this is exactly what I want. I started social media and didn't start with the intention of becoming the next big YouTuber or the next big TikTok star. I just wanted to share the foods that I love. Thankfully, TikTok has led me to the point that I'm at now, that is my full-time job as a content creator, focusing on TikTok, Instagram, and proud to even say now, YouTube. Starting posting on TikTok has opened up more doors in my life than I could have ever expected. Nowadays, I post many TikToks, Instagram Reels, and videos per week, and around one long-form YouTube video a week. Last summer, in August, I decided to come to Korea alone and see the culture for myself, see the food for myself, and explore Seoul. This was the longest time I ever left home and the furthest. I fell in love with the country, I made the best friends ever, and during my time in Korea, I knew I had to come back. After the summer in Korea, I left wondering what it was like in winter. I knew I had to see it. So on January 1st, 2023, New Year's Day, I took a flight to Seoul and liked Seoul even more by this time. By this point, I knew Korea was where I wanted to be. After 2 weeks in Korea during the winter, between school semesters, I came to Korea for a month and a half and had a blast. I got to travel to Busan, see the most remote places I've ever been, especially Imjedo. I came to Imjedo to visit a Korean farm and stay with the Josu Salt family. My experience here was like no other. Seeing the Korean countryside was an amazing experience. I found it fascinating to see how a single island can be so self-sustaining, harvesting a plethora of different seafood, salt, and you can't forget about their production of gochujang. My 24 hours in Imjedo was beyond unforgettable, and I hope to go back one day. The Korean countryside has left me itching to go see more, and I hope to be able to explore more outside of Seoul and see every corner of Korea. I'm so grateful to be able to live the life that I live and share the experiences that I have with the world. My time spent in Korea has been some of the best time of my life, and I'll always cherish my time here. As a long-time Korean culture fan, it feels like a dream come true to be here today sharing my story with you all. It's so crazy that I'm finally doing what the younger me secretly dreamed of doing. And of course, none of this would be possible, and I would not be here today without all of you, the viewers. So I wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you who has ever supported me, and also thank you all for coming here today. And thank you for listening to my story and my connection to Korean food. I will keep on creating new content for my supporters, and am honored to be here in Busan today. Thank you so much.